GLAAD has a bold new mission, an LGBTQ constitutional amendment. This is the focus group.
It's the savvy side of 9 to 5. Listen.
Bueller.
Laugh. And learn.
Negotiation. This is what you do in business.
This is the focus group with Tim Bennett.
Staunch.
And John Nash.
Keep your clothes looking neat and clean.
We're all business. Except when we're not.
Hey, welcome to the focus group. John Nash here with my good friend and co-host, Mr. Tim Bennett. And we are coming to you in the third week of August. Summer is almost officially over, which is kind of sad because I remember when summer kind of officially began. Anyway, focusgroupradio.com is where you need to go to check out everything about our show, including our main show, which you're watching now, available on YouTube and Facebook Live every Wednesday. Of course, it's at the website as well. Plus, Unbuttoned, an audio podcast that we produce and distribute on Tuesdays. 3 quick stories, about 20 minutes. Someone once told you, Tim, that it was a commutable show.
Commutable show. Yes, you could take it from the bus from where you live to work, or train.
Here in New York, someone might call that a Stairmaster show.
Is that what that is?
Because you get 20 minutes on the Stairmaster. Stupid thing, the paddle's going up and down.
People still do the Stairmaster?
Oh, the Stairmaster's around, yeah. The best thing in a gym, though, as opposed to a Stairmaster, is the rotating staircase.
Oh, I've seen that.
Have you seen this, right? So the reason that's better is because it actually makes you climb the stairs, which is putting force on your muscles the whole bit. After 20 minutes of that, I hop off. I'm like, whoa.
Because I would refuse to do that. When I was in college, we had to run stadium stairs.
I was going to ask you about that.
For an hour. And
up and down,
up
right?
And down, but all the way up, loop.
So you have to do each single...
All around. And so you wouldn't lose count. You had a little rock or somebody would put a rock or something. There were numbers, and you ride by and you put your number. You put the rock on the number so you knew what stadium stair you were on. But I lost so much weight when my parents came to pick me up freshman year, they drove right by me. They didn't notice me.
I love that story.
I lost 30 pounds.
They didn't know where you were.
I didn't think I was heavy, but I lost so much weight from rowing that, but it's...
here in the city...
exercise, you lose weight, I guess.
Here in the city, we have this thing that they do once a year. I'm going to not remember the name, but it's a run up the Empire State Building.
Oh, that's cool.
And I thought about it one day, and I thought it would be cool to walk up the fire stairs to the Empire, up to the top. But then I really thought about it. It's a long haul.
Yeah.
And it's when you were running up and down stadium stairs, it's easier to go down or up.
Well, you still have to maintain control, right? Because it's a different. So there is effort going up, but you also have effort going down.
Different muscle group too.
Right. And when you've got 50 and 60 guys behind you, and you're all doing it together, there's not a lot of room for error.
And you're being competitive.
Yeah.
So in the booth on audio, we have Garrett, we have Steve on video, and we have Dante.
Look at Dante back there.
Dante.
He was sitting in this seat earlier.
He was sitting in your seat.
I think he wants a career in broadcasting. He can come and sit and take. I don't feel so good today. Maybe he can sit and take my spot.
He'd have to learn a whole new way of acting and speaking, basically.
Be grumpy. Garrett certainly could take my spot.
Yeah.
Right, Garrett?
I feel like I could pull it off.
I know.
Yeah.
I know you could.
I think he could.
As long as John leads the way.
We keep threatening we're going to do that. Maybe we'll have to do that around holiday time or something. We'll have to do something fun with switching things up.
We threaten that we're going to wear a green bodysuit.
Oh, we're going to do lots of things.
We'll vanish against the green screen. We're going to do this. We're going to do that.
Still in San Diego. We need to get our fall studio in order.
This set is called Morning
in San Diego?
Morning News or something like that. Yeah, and it's a kind of a hodgepodge of cityscapes. But I do feel like we're in San Diego right now, one of my favorite cities, actually.
Could be like that, what's that guy, Michael Strahan? Have you seen that show with him and somebody? The hell is the person?
He used to be on with Kelly Ripa, right?
I want to know who his agent is because we should hire them. I mean, the fact that this guy is on so many shows.
He started in football, right?
Started football, and then he did with the Regis show, whatever that one was, with Kelly and him, Strahan, and then he did the $100,000 Pyramid or something.
Mm-hmm.
And
you've been over to Good Morning America.
Good Morning America, and he's got his own show now in the afternoon. Unwatchable.
It says him and Courtney Cox have a show now.
He's unwatchable.
Courtney Cox?
Have
Like
you seen
Courtney
him do
Cox
an interview?
from Friends? Courtney Cox?
Yeah, I
What am
don't.
I missing?
I don't get it either.
He was an amazing pass rusher, and
He keeps failing up.
legendary New York Giant. What else do you need?
Wait, Garrett, he keeps failing up.
I said to a friend of mine the other day, I want to know his agent. I mean, his agent's the most brilliant person on the planet. I don't get it. Anyway, I saw him interview somebody after a few weeks ago after the horrible shootings, and I thought this one is just so I don't get it.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right.
So as summer winds down, you're looking forward to the at Rehoboth. What is the official day when you are free of the summer crowds?
Well, it's usually Labor Day. They're very much like Maine. It's a 10-week thing. It's
Not a
Memorial Day to
shutdown.
Labor
Lobsters
Day.
over here.
But whereas Maine actually does really shut down to a certain extent, although lately it seems as if they've extended the summer season as well. I would say Sea Witch is the official end of.
We had a ball at the Sea Witch. Oh my God!
When the Sea Witch comes down the street, that at the big parade on a Saturday. I think it's the last Saturday in October.
Yeah, it was
that's
Halloween.
the end. That's the end of
It's
summer.
right around Halloween. And the time we were down, it was a warm day.
It's hot.
82 degrees or something, beautiful, dry, and that parade was a riot. We loved the Sea Witch. And we were actually thinking, we were in front of a hotel.
Yeah, I actually took a picture of the sandcastle.
The focus group proudly broadcast from Rehoboth's only 2-star hotel.
I pulled up a couple of pictures. I was going to post them. I pulled a couple of pictures up of the sandcastle. One of the rooms, the deluxe room, has 4 king-size beds in it. So can you imagine with one bathroom? So they crammed in 4 king-size beds.
Is there?
So that's just.
And I know this
that's just for
building.
volume, right? That's just to pump the kids in, get to the beach. I thought, can you imagine having? Because there's to put 2 or 3 in a king size, right?
Yeah, I could see it being a party room for people coming down for like a circuit party or something, right?
Did not look friendly, but.
So anyway,
sandcastle.
Sea Witch closes down. But so Labor Day is like an unofficial mark in the sand.
Yeah, because everybody goes, oh my God, I can't believe you found it. Can you believe that thing?
Garrett.
That's the room. If you're watching on our video, Garrett pulled that up? Pulled up a picture. That's the room at the sandcastle, John. That's where we could all stay together, probably. We could even bring the boys with us. Look at that.
It's so. Now, guys, I know we all travel differently, and I've camped. This to me this looks.
Well, there's a picture of the pool. It's green. I mean, it's
This looks like we might get bed bugs, and if a salamander or a scorpion skittered across the carpet right now, I'd be the least.
Well, friends of mine that pick up the ladies say the bar down at the bottom of the sandcastle is the place to find the girls.
That's the hit zone, right?
It's the zone. It's late at night. You're looking for the ladies. That's the place to head.
The sandcastle. Where are you going tonight, Mister Sandcastle?
And there's like a package store, a liquor store attached right next to it too.
When was the last time someone called it a package store?
Yeah.
That's why did it
New
ever
England
come up
thing.
with that name, package store?
I guess you're going to go get a package. We didn't want to say you're getting booze. Going to get a package.
Which did I tell you this story? So one day we're in the car and we're going by a liquor store and Bob goes, oh, turn in. Here, blink, make the turn safely. I said, well, I've never been to this liquor store before. Oh no, I know. That's why we're going. And I said, he goes, I'm running out of gin. And the last time I went to the store I normally go to, the woman saw him come in and she goes, getting a bottle of
Hendrix?
Tanqueray or Hendrix, whatever. And he said he doesn't like the people to know. He doesn't like the level of familiarity.
With his booze content?
Which means he's been in enough times and bought the same product that they literally mark him as, oh, here comes the Hendrix guy. You want your Hendrix gin? Okay, here you go.
That's funny.
So he has 4 stores he rotates his purchases. Unless, of course, we go to Costco. Then it's he'll buy New Amsterdam there or Kirkland.
What's New Amsterdam?
New Amsterdam's a gin, or it's a brand, and they also make a vodka.
Not any good?
You know what my sister told me? Lisa told me that Kirkland vodka is actually Grey Goose.
Probably.
She said she would swear on a Bible it's Grey Goose.
Well, I buy Kirkland vodka all the time. Richard gets upset that I put the bottle out. And I said, well, then get a funnel and funnel it into something else.
Now Tim brings up another little trick that we love. Heaven
Hill
is a replacement for...
Well, it's not a replacement for, but I think it's better than Maker's Mark, and it's a third of the price.
Yeah. So when you can find Heaven Hill and you have a Maker's Mark bottle, take a funnel, glug, glug, glug. Who's going to know?
I've made millions of Maker's Mark, not millions,
Of Maker's Mark,
tens of hundreds
Manhattan.
of Manhattans with Maker's Mark, and I've not one complaint with Heaven Hill. Listen, Heaven Hill's better. I learned that from our dear friend Mary Seton Corboy, and I watched her one time. I'm like, what is this Heaven Hill? And it's the best, I think, the best bourbon out there for the price.
I agree.
It's under $15 for a big bottle, and it's made in Kentucky. It's Kentucky straight bourbon, and it's great for, it's smooth, and it's great for Manhattans.
And no one knows.
Well, people want to buy the big name, right? So you'll spend
You could have a knob-
$35 for a
Knob
bottle of
Hill
Maker's
or
Mark or
Maker's
$15
Mark, yeah.
for
Or
Heaven
Bullet.
Hill. Yeah.
I just think it's funny when you use a vodka that this is fantastic vodka, and then you say Kirkland, and suddenly it changes the drink that you've been enjoying. No, it's
You and I were out with a client who had to order a drink, and it was he had ordered some special vodka,
top of the line.
which was $60 a drink, and then when he had gone to the bathroom, we had said, well, when the bartender said, "Would you like another round?" We were tempted to just say,
Switch the vodka.
"I bet he'd have no idea."
The minute we were having cocktails, so there was
Gimlets.
something, and there was
Fresh lime juice in it.
mixed in. The minute you add any additive, changes the liquor. And we know this from our Sirius XM days. We had many, many spirits people on. Sometimes they were spirited up.
Yeah.
The best way to put it. Remember the guy that came in to do make the perfect Bloody Mary without any vodka, but he'd been out the whole.
Directly from the After Hours Club.
looks
No
like
booze.
looks like he got hit. Looks like he got hit by a car, rolled onto a trash can, stood up, and then walked into the studio. All right, what caught your eye this week?
What caught your eye? Here's what Tim and John found.
This was actually sent to us by one of our listeners in Chicago, Mary Ann. Thank you. And this goes under the category of, John, why didn't you and I think of this? Which I always
There's
say
a
all
lot
the time.
that I haven't thought of. Yeah.
And Mary Ann would fall in this category too. But the headline is how a robotic singing fish made $100 million in 1 year. So that's big math, Billy Bass. Do you guys remember that from 2000? Everybody's nodding their heads. So this says, in a world of a few hits and constant misses, how did a singing fish mounted on a plaque end up being one of the most iconic gag gifts in history? So they said by the year 2000, the big mouth Billy Bass was inescapable. It was an anatromic latex fish flopping around it and would move and then sing. And it would grace the walls of George Bush's Oval Office, Queen Elizabeth's Balmoral Castle. Bill Clinton sent one to Al Gore, and it had a guest appearance on an episode of The Sopranos. And it was all done by this guy named Joe Palatieri, who was a self-professed numbers guy. He got an MBA from Indiana University. And he decided he wanted to do something different and went to work for a little company in Texas called Gemmy Industries, Gemmy.
Jemmy.
Right. And one of the first projects he had, they had this toy. It was a small novelty toy business outside of Dallas. And they had this little flower that was in a plastic pot.
Somehow I remember this.
And the flower sang, "You Are My Sunshine."
Okay.
But it wasn't doing well. It was a huge flop. So he said, well, why not a whole pot of flowers? So they added some more. They had a quartet of flowers moving and grooving to Glenn Miller's song, "In the Mood." It was called the Living Garden Series, and it was a huge hit. So he gets made VP of Product Development now. He doesn't know what to do. He's never done this sort of thing before, novelty stuff. He and his wife are on vacation, and they go into one of the those Bass Pro Shop outlets.
Yeah.
And his wife says, what about a singing fish on a plaque?
The wife said this?
Yeah. So he said to himself, he said, I always come from a place, if it makes me laugh, then it must be a good idea. The idea of a fish on a plaque singing, "Take Me to the River," in my mind, was hilarious. So he started working on this. It said it took him quite a while, and the people down at Gemmy did not like the idea. And they kept working on it and working on it and working on it. And it wasn't until about 5 years later they had a breakthrough.
And he's still at Jemmy for the
Still at
5
Gemmy,
years,
and they're
okay.
still developing other toys and stuff. And he said the breakthrough was somebody said, could the fish turn its head?
And
So it was flopping. It would flop on the...
So in other words, it could move like it do movements on that flat board, but you're talking about the head literally go reach,
so
like
could the
almost
head-
looking
so there's
at
actually
it.
a video of it. If we could pull the link up, you could see it. But
you
so it was doing the flopping tail there. And so they're like, well, we don't really like this, but it wasn't until the head turned, which will come up right now.
Oh, here we
That's
go.
when Jemmy bought it.
So they bought it. They bought the idea and the whole thing when it started to do the head.
They bought the idea when they were able to move the head. They had to work with a company in China. They sold it exclusively through Bass Pro Shops and also Spencer Gifts. It was $30, $29.95. And then it ended up at Walmart, Target, all these other places. The issue was there was a 45 to 50 day lead time due to the intricate electrical wiring needed. So apparently they had a video of how it took 45 to 50 days to make the damn thing.
Really?
Which to me doesn't sound like a good deal. But it only cost them $4.50 to make.
Whoa. So there's all this time the lead time to manufacture, which means a lot of different hands are touching it. But you say it costs $4 a unit to make?
$4.50 to make. And he said there are many people involved: artists, engineers, taxidermists, salespeople, U.S. staff, Hong Kong staff. It was a team effort. So it got up to be as high as $90 on eBay they would sell for. But so for 1 year, it had great sales. In 2001, it ended up in the clearance bin for $5 at places like Walmart. But they made $100 million on it in 1 year.
That was the profit.
That was the profit. Well, that's what they're saying.
Well, that number they're quoting is probably, so that's all the R&D, all the other stuff subtracted.
$100 million in revenue.
I'd take it.
He said we sold more than the popular Tickle Elmo that year. And his next big creation were the Kung Fu hamsters. That's saying Kung Fu fighting. And right now he's working on other projects. He said, I don't want to be known as the fish guy, but listen.
Do you know that? And the fish...
I got a couple of ideas.
Talk about an outsized impact on the culture. Like, there are a lot of sitcoms that had the fish in it.
Yeah.
It would be on someone's wall.
Well, they said they refused to do any. The big thing with Jemmy is they do no advertising. It's all word of mouth. There was never any 1 ounce of advertising money spent. We only run on word of mouth. The company boosted the profits by limiting amounts of product in the beginning. Make it limited in the beginning.
Yeah. Oh, we're only going to get 4 at your store.
Right. Then you ramp up. But it's like the pet rock or anything else, right? You do it. You get in. You get out.
But, hey.
The fidget spinner. You know that thing that kids are spinning?
Oh my God.
How much do you think they made on that?
Oh, do they make as much as the bass? Maybe. That's got to be a lot of money on the fidget, because those were everywhere for a while.
Yeah, the fidget spinner was, I had it up here, $500 million. The Furby was $40 million.
Oh.
The fidget spinner was, and that was 98. Fidget spinner, 2017, $500 million for that stupid ball bearing thing.
I got an idea.
I got a couple
We're
ideas.
going to take some straw. We're going to put it in a box. I'm going to take this rock. The pet rock was one of the really, not only was it ironic, you knew you were buying a rock, but you had to have it because it was a pet rock. Well, my caught my eye was a very, very different caught my eye.
Sure it was.
And the headline reads, "Science says the most successful kids have parents who do these 4 things." And the reason I chose it was because this reminded me, frankly, of our upbringing.
Did your parents do these 4 things?
Yours did too. And the first one is they allow...
Got up and went to work each day.
They allow their kids to be bored. So while you might think that kids who don't have enough to do get into trouble, constructive boredom is actually important for their mental and emotional growth. Researchers have found that when people are constructively bored, they look for and find satisfying activities to fill the void. In this way, boredom forces young people to be creative when they pick up a book, build a fort, make cookies, draw something, or turn on the computer. I would agree with this. Mm-hmm. We were, there were many summer days. And the reason I thought about this article was I remember our summers were like dead quiet. I remember one time my sister and I had a week-long skateboard competition. We would set up a card table out on the front lawn, put a blanket over it as a tent, and then she would ride the skateboard down a hill, then I would ride, and my older sister would score us. Like that was a 5, that was a 4. She was like a Russian judge. But that came out of boredom. The next one is they live in areas with lots of vegetation. Researchers studied satellite images and data regarding more than 900,000 people in Denmark and determined that children raised in areas with the lowest levels of green space, so not much vegetation, had up to a 55% higher chance of having a psychiatric disorder. They believe it's because areas with trees, grass, and other vegetation support mental restoration, promote exercise, provide a place for people to be social, and bolster the immune system. Again, that's good. The other one is, I'm sure your folks did this. I know my mom did. They read to their kids. You sit with the kid and you read to them. Teenagers do better when they've actually been read to. They've done studies on that. And the last one, I think in our day and age, this makes complete sense. Put your phones down. Researchers have found a link between behavior problems in kids with parents looking at their phones or using screens to pacify kids. I see this behavior every day. So there's the parent looking at the phone, the kid's playing. Dad, look over here. Look, oh, yeah, you're doing great. Or the kid starts crying and they hand him the phone with a game on it and it tap, 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 tap. You've seen this, right?
Yeah, unfortunately.
So that was my little...
I like when all the families are out for dinner and they're all on their phones.
How about when you watch a couple on a date? That's the one that is the most intriguing to me, when I see a couple not talking and they're both doing this thing. And then maybe someone will say, oh, did you see so-and-so did something? Okay. Yeah. And then the appetizers come and they put the phones down, and then within a minute or so they're up again. And I know that not everybody's like that, but there are some people who are really obsessive. So there you go.
I work for this clown and his wife. We'd be in meetings, and the wife worked at the company too. And during meetings, she was texting the husband on the phone.
He's sitting right next to her.
Yeah, and then he would. Can we talk about that? Yeah, and then so they had another. She had another meeting going on.
I know the company.
Yeah, morons. Well, it's not their company anymore. But I used to just.
It's not their company anymore, right?
But I used to just marvel at the. I'm thinking, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
It's just crazy behavior. Crazy behavior. Business birthday.
Everyone does celebrity birthday greetings, but the Focus Group is the only show in the universe that celebrates business birthdays.
Speaking of something caught in my throat, our business birthday today is Charles Casper Payton, born August 21st, 1962. He's 57 today. You people know him as Jeff Stryker.
His real name was Charles Payton?
Casper Payton.
Charles, I wonder how I got the middle name Casper. That's interesting.
Do you boys know Jeff Stryker?
Wait, is that a ringer of a question or what?
He did heterosexual porn too. By the way, I got in trouble by one of our listeners because we call them the boys. I got in trouble again.
The gentleman in the booth?
Yeah, I don't know what I'm supposed to call the people in the booth.
The people in the booth. Hello, everyone.
So he's an American porn star who starred in bisexual, gay, and straight adult films. He lives in California. He grew up in Springfield, Illinois. He worked as a stripper and delivered balloonograms until he went to some photographer's house as a ballonogram deliverer, and they said, why don't you try adult films? Of course he did. He was primarily known for gay porn, although his biggest hit ever was the heterosexual adult movie called Jamie Loves Jeff. He describes himself as sexually universal. He says he doesn't define as anything. So he was ubiquitous in the 80s. I know you have a story, which you can tell in a second. Yeah. So where he really made his money, he was well endowed, although apparently not as well endowed as people thought. So he claimed he was 10 if you were using a ruled measurement. It was really 7.5.
Yeah.
But he had something, and excuse my language if the kids are listening, put your fingers in their ears. He had something called the Jeff Stryker cock and balls. It was a dildo fashioned from the cast of his penis. It's widely sold in sex stores, still sold today. It was also, the dildo was academically analyzed in a paper presented in 1995 by a lesbian studies group at Bowling Green State University.
A lesbian studies group.
You can't make it up.
No, you cannot make that up.
It was notable. His toy was notable for not only being popular, but there was also litigation that took place about whether that was considered intellectual property or not. He actually won the case, saying that the likeness of his unit was intellectual property. John Waters, we all know John Waters, he called Jeff Stryker the Cary Grant of porn. I didn't know this, John. He also released an album of country music. I don't know if you could find the song. His hit song was "Pop You in the Pooper." I clicked on it. I think you could find it on Garrett or Steve.
That was a song.
Yeah, well, there it is. There, see, it says
I see the cover of the 45 or whatever.
I was able to click on it. It wasn't bad. Here it comes now.
There he is.
Look at her. Oh, look at him go.
Hey, buddy, you say you're straight, well that's great, but you ought to try something new. Cause you got a spot in a place that's hot, and it likes to be tickled too. I got a wad to drop on your loading dock, deliveries in the rear.
Deliveries in the rear.
I'm speechless. I'm speechless.
Get you another beer. Let me pop you in the pooper, buddy, until I hear you
I'm going to get you that for your birthday, by the way. Your birthday's coming up. I'm going to get you the disc. So it goes on and on. He's done quite well. I'm sure his mother's proud.
My God, I'm really speechless. Holy crap.
Yeah. Margaret Trow likes him. She talks about him quite a bit. Hi, Margaret. She's a friend of ours on the Twitter. So his latest controversy is he's fighting with Kulak's Woodshed, which is a folk music nightclub in L.A. next to his office. He claims the club causes disturbances associated with large late-night urban venues, noise, drugs, unruly patrons, vandalism, etc. He says he's complained and that the club is ruining his business. He's blamed the nightclub for preventing him from completing his autobiography because the noise has disturbed his concentration. He says, I'm writing my biography, but I can't finish it. I got a $25,000 advance on the book, but I can never complete it because of the noise next door.
Has he heard of a library?
So,
or a laptop? I mean,
here's where it gets crazy. So Kulak at the Woodshed had done a counterclaim and says Stryker constantly reminds him that he's a firearms expert and sits there with a fake pistol or a pistol and clicks it when Kulak goes to take his garbage out. Stryker's also been in P-Town where he does a comedy stand-up routine written by Bruce Valanche. And then he does a nude finale where he dances for the crowd. And
then you get a free copy of Pompey and the
You know, he's kept it going. Jeff Stryker.
Now, you know,
Happy birthday, Jeff.
I thank you for this business birthday. I recently found a Polaroid, and I didn't find it. It was in a box of stuff, but it's a Polaroid of me and Jeff Stryker on a stage in Palm Springs.
Was he dancing?
He was there for photos. So you paid $10 and you got your photo. He had a shirtless pair of jeans. But I remember when remember when the photo would come out and you'd wave it and it would slowly develop. So I thanked him, shook his hand, I got off the stage and I hand the photo to my friend Jordan. And Jordan, as it starts developing, he goes, well, it's a really good likeness of Jeff Stryker. He goes, then who's Casper the Friendly Ghost over here? I was white, and I was wearing a black T-shirt. He goes, who's Casper the Friendly Ghost?
You have to post that. Can you post it?
I'll photograph it or scan it and post it because I have a full head of hair and Stryker looks the same. If you saw the 10 pictures in a row, everything's the same. He got the Hollywood smile. He knows what he's doing.
Well, he's little, right?
Yeah.
5'9" or something.
That's such a great business birthday. All right. As many of you are aware, Deep Discount is a friend of ours here on the Focus Group. You can get to their site by going to ours, focusgroupradio.com. Find the shark logo. Arr! I know it's a pirate, but that's my shark voice. And click on it and start your savings and shopping. And we like you to do it that way because then we get credit for you traveling to Deep Discount. They let us pick we had a lot of sales to pick from this month. So this sale I picked because I knew that me and Tim would have a lot to choose from. 1950s sale. It's like 1950s TV in Hollywood. And Tim, what did you pick first?
So I do what I usually do, and there's page and page and page of great selections. I went to the very end, like page 30.
Oh, okay. I go I'll go 6 to 10, and then I'll go one or two more.
I go way deep.
Okay. Go way deep.
Excuse me. And then I found this. I'd never heard of it before. And you know, I've got everything I Love Lucy. So it's I Love Lucy, the movie, and other great rarities. And it was released in April of 2010. And essentially what somebody has done, this is on DVD, the price is $10.99. They took 3 classic first season I Love Lucy episodes, so The Benefit, Breaking the Lease, and The Ballet, and they edited them together and then did some newly filmed connecting scenes to create a never-before-seen feature-length film. So they actually had...
So it's 3 episodes.
So 3 episodes. They had Lucy, Desi, William Frawley, and Vivian to do scenes to connect the 3 episodes together, and it's an 81-minute film, never released. The original date was 1953. And so it was a rarity. I can't imagine what I would like to see it only because I can't imagine how they connected all three episodes.
Well, you can order it for $12. What is it?
$10.99.
$10.99.
So
See, that's why we love deep discount. Where would you ever find? You don't find that streaming.
I never knew it existed.
So I picked a classic, an absolute classic. It's been turned into a Broadway musical. It's Sunset Boulevard on DVD. Stars Gloria Swanson as Norma Desmond, an aging silent film queen, and William Holden, young William Holden, very handsome, as a struggling young screenwriter who is held in thrall by her madness. Created two of the screen's most memorable characters in Sunset, those two actors. Directed by Billy Wilder, winner of 3 Academy Awards. It's an incredibly well-done movie, black and white. Also has an interesting cast with some real people, besides Nancy Olson, Fred Clark, Jack Webb, and Lloyd Gow. As themselves, it has Cecil B. DeMille, Hedda Hopper's in there, Buster Keaton, which I didn't realize, and Anna Q. Nilsson, also on H.B. Warner, which is the head of Warner Brothers. So, Garrett, I have a little clip from when Norma Desmond's telling William Holden's character about how pictures changed.
Wait a minute, haven't I seen you before? I know your face.
Get out, or shall I call my servant?
You're Norma Desmond. Used to be in silent pictures, used to be big.
I am big. It's the pictures that got small.
There's so many good quotes from that movie, but that one, I think, pretty much sums it up, right? You've seen it, right?
Richard likes when she goes pumping.
We have oil fields pumping and pumping. We have plenty of money.
This is the moral. The thing I took away from this movie is they wanted a car, right? Yeah. Which I always loved.
It was some kind of Italian. Yeah. They kept calling her up, and they just wanted her car on the lot. Yeah. So, Sunset Boulevard. Released this week is a movie called A Dog's Journey on Blu-ray. A Dog's Journey. It's picking up where a movie called The Dog's Purpose left off, with Ethan, Dennis Quaid, and his beloved dog Bailey, voiced again by Josh Gad, finds a new destiny. Now, you're a dog lover. Would you watch a dog? Now, here's something that Garrett said to me that I thought was kind of interesting. He wonders if that's the cutest dog you could have on that. I think there might be cuter dogs for that packaging.
That looks kind of almost like a border collie, a little bit, although markings, I don't know. I think all dogs are cute.
Some are cuter than others, though, right, Garrett?
Need some white around the eyes.
Yeah.
There's something.
Well, these are popular movies, though, so it's a Dog's Journey on Blu-ray.
My dogs are pumping along in the summer. So, hey, head over to Deep Discount. Well, no, we want you to go to focusgroupradio.com and click on the Deep Discount logo and start shopping away. It's a 1950s sale. I picked I Love Lucy, the movie, and rarities. John had selected Sunset Boulevard on DVD. And the new release this week is A Dog's Journey on Blu-ray. What do you have to say, Garrett?
Thanks, Deep Discount.
We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, John and I are going to have a discussion about something that our friends at GLAAD are up to. We'll see. Stay tuned.
You're listening to The Focus Group with Tim and John. Learn more at focusgroupradio.com. Focus on the savvy side of 9 to 5 with The Focus Group.
Try, really try.
Listen, laugh, and learn with Tim and John.
I never try anything. I just do it.
Welcome back to The Focus Group. John Nash with Tim Bennett. FocusGroupRadio.com is the only URL you need to know. So visit when you can. Earl. Shop Talk Time, and direct from the New York Times, an article entitled GLAAD's Bold New Campaign, an LGBT Constitutional Amendment. This came out about 2 weeks ago, actually 3. I saved the article. Me and Tim have read it extensively and have some thoughts, but I'll kick it off by saying, after years of fighting homophobic news coverage and working to bring about inclusion in the entertainment industry, the LGBT advocacy organization found itself losing money, scrambling to adapt to the rise of digital media, and struggling to be taken seriously in Hollywood. To give you background, if you're not aware of it, GLAAD, the Gay and Lesbian Alliance Against Defamation, which is where the acronym came from, was originally founded to promote positive inclusion of LGBT people in media, commercials, etc. So it was very Hollywood or culture focused. Sarah Kate Ellis, who is now named the chief executive in late 2013, she said, "I was given a scary mandate: fix it or shut it down." Determined to revive the nonprofit, Ms. Ellis pursued new donors, including the oil heiress Ariadne Getty and the Coca-Cola Company. She created a rapid response unit to contend with online media. GLAAD now advises Twitter, and Facebook on content policies, and she rebuilt GLAAD's credibility in Hollywood. But GLAAD once again finds itself at a crossroads. Success has emboldened Ms. Ellis, 47, to push the organization deeper into national politics with a gutsy and potentially historic mission to build support for a constitutional amendment that would explicitly protect lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender people from discrimination. We are now actively working to make it a part of the conversation for the presidential 2020 race. So we'll start conversation. That's kind of the kickoff for the article, right? There's a number of people that chimed in on the article that I actually concur with. I'm sure you do as well.
Well, so when I had seen this, there's been lots of negative press about GLAAD for having done such a horrible job around Stonewall 50. So
practically
in the month of
non-existent.
June.
Yeah.
Well, and what they did was factually wrong and historically incorrect. And so they did a poor job on that. And people said if this was ever a time for GLAAD to fix itself or reboot itself, it would have been to at least getting Stonewall 50 right. So they didn't do that. And I've
didn't do that.
But I've always been skeptical of GLAAD because to me, it became a very LA, somewhat New York, but LA focused C-D level celebrity. They even said in here, tacky dinner party. Yeah. And it was essentially a place for the nonprofit to rub elbows with the Hollywood elite,
the
glitterati, and say, we want good depictions of LGBTQ people in media, which is an admirable mission, but that's your mission. So even if your mission has been completed, so they say or whatever, because there's been lots of more portrayal of LGBT people in film and in movie or television, you could still then move your organization into being more in a consultative role rather than being a organization that's pushing for visibility. Why not, now that you have visibility, help craft on the consulting end of it? So to do an amendment, do you know how difficult it is to get an amendment to the Constitution of the United States?
It requires 2/3 ratification of states, right? Which
would require approval from both houses of Congress, who can't agree on gun issues.
Let alone
you can't agree when 20 little kids get their heads blown off in an elementary school about guns. You think we're going to do a LGBTQ amendment with 2/3 of the states, both houses of Congress, with a 2/3 majority, and then ratification of at least 38 states, where we already have 30 states you get fired for being gay. So to me, it's just a colossal waste of time and resources.
Unless, of course, your mandate is to earn your executive director salary. And I don't mean to be cynical, but this is a business now. It's an organization. They have real estate. They have offices. They have employees. So I'll contrast that by saying, or I'll not contrast, but I'll give you a contrasting thought here. She says, the director, Sarah Kate Ellis, we've moved from a Hollywood watchdog to a cultural change agent. With that, we've expanded how we move hearts and minds to create a more accepting world for all people. That was not their original mandate. If you want to rebrand GLAAD and you want to change their mandate, fine. Mm-hmm. But a lot of us who have signed on to the GLAAD thought process of positive inclusion and being a watchdog, this doesn't really jibe. And then someone speaking anonymously said, a head of another organization, GLAAD has done a great job in its lane, and I wish it would stay there. And he said, he was staying anonymous because he didn't want a public spat. But he brings up an interesting point. I did not ask for a constitutional amendment. So an organization in California is deciding that they're going to make this a political thing, right? They've already spoken. They hired a lobbying firm. They've been to Washington, D.C. They had great meetings with people. Well, you could have a great meeting in Washington any day of the week, but just getting something done is another matter.
Anyone who knows anything about lobbying firms in D.C., it's a big circle jerk. You go down there, of course someone's going to meet with you. They got nothing to do.
Yeah.
So they sit around there to take you to lunch, you jerk each other off, and then you leave, and nothing gets done.
Did you read this part of the article, which I thought was kind of saddening to me? The paragraph says, GLAAD, formerly known as the Gay and Lesbian Alliance Against Defamation, was founded in 1985 to fight homophobic coverage of AIDS in the news media. Formerly known?
Well, what's it now known as?
Just GLAAD. So you're going to keep that whole, you're going to say GLAAD, you're going to keep the name, and you're going to now say formerly known as this, but now we're, going to be pushing this constitutional amendment. I don't mind the spirit of it. I don't.
Well, that's weird. I wonder if that was on purpose. GLAAD, formerly known as. Well, what's it going to be known as now?
Just GLAAD. So internally, they made a decision to unhook themselves from the
Gay and Lesbian Alliance Against.
Yeah, from what the acronym means. And
so, what does GLAAD mean?
Now it's just GLAAD. Yeah, that's a good. But I caught that in the article. I'm like, wait a minute. Since taking over GLAAD, Ms. Ellis has tripled the group's annual income. So that means she's taken it from
$3 million to $9 million.
Yeah, which is a lot of money. And mostly because of certain key donors. And she's created this GLAAD Institute, which trains volunteers across the country to use media to battle homophobia. GLAAD now has 70 corporate sponsors, up from 30 in 2014, in part because Ms. Ellis and Ms. Getty started to hold annual events at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland. I'm going to sound a little bit cynical when I say this, but this is a business now, right?
Why are you being a little bit cynical?
Well, I mean, if you're going to go to Davos in Switzerland, Davos is a big, let's all rub each other's, elbows and make some money kind of thing, and have highfalutin talks about how we're going to save the world and go back to our little fiefdoms and do what we did before we got to Davos. But
many LGBTQ civil rights leaders have complained privately. They said that an amendment campaign would siphon resources from priorities like the Equality Act,
which has already
which will add gender identity and sexual orientation to the Civil Rights Act of 1964, which is going in front of the Supreme Court in October.
Yeah,
there should be a
case
ruling.
Is going to be going. Yeah.
So I don't. Anytime I say anything about GLAAD, I usually just move along.
Well, I'll wrap it up in this way. You and I used to have a lot of interesting and spirited conversations about gay marriage.
Yeah.
Back before before the case went to the Supreme Court, Obergefell, the Edie Windsor thing, all that, we were like, is this should we really be fighting for this right now? Shouldn't we be getting like an Equal Employment Act or something? So I was dubious, but I was happy when it happened. And then I think a lot of people are like, well, we've arrived. But a lot of LGBT people don't get married. They're not they might not be in a relationship where they want to get married. So marriage was always something that was interesting to the community and great, but I don't think it was the end all be all. And now to take your eye off the ball of being a cultural media watchdog and to say, we're rebranding, we're going to push a constitutional amendment. I didn't have a say on that.
Well, and I'll be curious to see what all the new sponsors think of that.
It's very political.
Because if your mission has changed, you'd want to make sure that the sponsors are on board with your new mission. I mean, I know a lot of the different centers around the country are struggling with what their missions are going to be in terms of
outreach, serve.
Outreach, well, particularly with with all the new drugs and advance of HIV and AIDS, some companies or some not-for-profits are not getting the amount of donations they used to because people feel like, well, it's over.
It's over. Yeah.
And so what's my mission going to be? Maybe she feels that that's what's happened here because there's so much portrayal now of LGBTQ people in media that they needed to move on, but gives her something to do.
Well, yeah, and there's a salary that's going to be made.
She go back to her band. She was in a band, I think, before. Yeah.
All right.
Well, there you go. Hey, thanks for joining us today. We appreciate the time you spend with us. Be sure to catch our podcast, which comes out every Tuesday, TFG Unbuttoned. You can find out all about it at focusgroupradio.com. Thank you, Garrett. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Dante. Thank you, John. Thanks to our friends at Deep Discount. Be sure to go to focusgroupradio.com and click on their logo and start shopping away. And we hope everyone has a good week as summer starts winding down. So take care. Oh, don't text and drive, arrive alive.
What an afterthought. Yeah.
It's The Focus Group with Tim Bennett and John Nash. Accessible on all platforms. Subscribe, like, and rate us on your platform of choice. Learn more at focusgroupradio.com.
That was a stunning focus group.